Bonding is never a simple procedure. You can do all the research you want and still have no idea what to do if your two rabbits aren't getting along. Bonding becomes much more challenging when a second bunny is introduced into the household of a free-roaming rabbit. The internet guidelines are all aimed toward rabbits that are used to spending the most of their days in a hutch or cage, so there is very little information regarding bonding bunnies who live freely in your house. To bond free-roam rabbits, you'll need to create a neutral environment that will be large enough to give your rabbit a sense of freedom and fun during the process. You'll also need to spend extra time to thoroughly clean the original rabbit's territory before the two can move in together. Before your rabbits are bonded, they'll need to be kept in separate areas to prevent fighting. Normally, you would simply have two separate side-by-side enclosures that you set up for your rabbits, but that's not always the best solution for a rabbit who's used to free roaming the house all day long. Suddenly being kept in a very small area for most of the day can be frustrating for the rabbit and can make bonding more difficult because they take their anger out on the second bunny. For free roam rabbits, you'll need to get creative in where you keep them while they are not being bonded. No matter what you choose, you want to make sure the setup is secure so that the two rabbits will not be able to sneak into the other rabbit's area and start a fight. It's also best if you can make sure the two rabbits are still able to see and smell each other during their time in their separate areas. This will help them become more familiar with the second rabbit. Switch to Xpens. The first option is to use large exercise pens to keep your rabbits separate while you timeshare the free roam area. While you'll still have to keep your free roam rabbit in an enclosure for part of the day so the new bunny can get time to exercise, they'll still be able to have a large portion of the day to maintain their lifestyle. How I managed this was by letting my original free roam rabbit have access to the whole room overnight and through the morning. Then during afternoon nap time, I would switch the two rabbits so the new bunny would have time out to exercise until late in the evening. Since the two separate pens were in the same room, that meant that my two rabbits were still able to see each other and sniff each other, but they couldn't get at each other to hurt each other in any way. Some people will also suggest keeping only the new rabbit in a pen while your original rabbit continues to have free roam of their area, since the new rabbit is probably not used to having so much space just yet. You'll have to make this choice based on the personalities and energy levels of your rabbits, but try to make sure the new rabbit gets some time out to exercise every day, even if it's not as much as your first rabbit. Use separate rooms. If you have a home with multiple rooms that you can use for your rabbits, it may be easier to simply set up your rabbit areas in two separate rooms across a hallway. Put a pet gate on the door so your rabbits can't hurt one another but are still able to see each other through the doorway. This setup can work best if you expect the bonding to be especially difficult. It can be tedious to maintain that daily switching of free roam space over the long term, so if you believe the process will take more than a couple of months, try this setup. This way, the two rabbits will both have plenty of space to live in the meantime. If for some reason, the bonding never works out, you'll also be able to maintain two separate rabbit rooms more easily. Divide the room in half. Dividing your rabbit's free roam room or territory in half with a gate, an exercise pen stretching across the length of the room, is another option. This is probably the least convenient for you because you'll have to constantly climb over the gate to get from one rabbit to the other. Additionally, if you don't have ways of securing the gate at the edges of the room, this method leaves the biggest chance for a breach in security, with one rabbit making their way onto the other side. However, this method does have its advantages. You won't have to worry about time sharing their exercise time, preventing any potential frustration from not having enough time to roam around. It also gives your rabbits a wide area where they can see and interact from either side of the fence. Instead of only being able to see each other through a small doorway, the two rabbits will be able to get used to seeing each other along the whole length of the room. Finding neutral territory. Neutral territory is another aspect of bonding free roams rabbits that can be difficult to come by. When house rabbits are kept in an enclosure, they typically will only feel territorial toward their living space and maybe their exercise room as well. However, free roam rabbits might feel ownership over the entire place, feeling the instinct to attack any other rabbit who enters the home. My elusive has even followed me into the bathroom, so that's not always an option either. While there have been some people who managed to bond their free roam rabbit despite having no neutral territory, this has a very high potential to not work out. It's always best when bonding rabbits to introduce them and begin bonding in a place where neither rabbit will feel ownership. Some possibilities include a large bathroom or kitchen. If your rabbit doesn't go into the bathroom or kitchen, these can be great areas to set up large neutral spaces. They can also be thoroughly cleaned with relative ease, making it easier to get rid of your original rabbit scent in the area. A friend's house. If there are no neutral spaces in your home, try to get the help of a friend or family member. See if they'll allow you to stay there with your rabbits for a couple of weeks while you get the rabbits bonded. Blocking off an area of the home ahead of time. If you know you are going to be welcoming a new rabbit soon, try blocking off a room or large section of your home from your original rabbit. Clean the area thoroughly and keep your rabbit out of it for at least a couple of months. This should make the area more foreign and neutral when it comes time to bond. Wait until you move. This is what I did. I knew I was only going to be living in my apartment for another year, so I waited until I moved out to get another rabbit and bond them. You can also bring another rabbit home first, but keep them separate until you move. Then start the bonding process. Getting impatient with your rabbit can end up causing the bonding to go downhill. You may even have to take a break and start all over, so make sure to take it just one step at a time and wait for your rabbits to be ready, no matter how long it takes. Expect more territorial behavior. Free-roam rabbits will likely feel ownership of a large territory. Be ready to prevent any aggressive behavior that may follow by using a dustbin, broom, or heavily gloved hand to separate the rabbits. Expect it to take more time. Expect it to take a number of months to bond your rabbit. Plan for a drawn-out process that may take 2 to 6 months or even longer. Don't underestimate your role. Your original rabbit is likely very closely bonded to you already. If you completely step out of the picture, they'll be confused and upset. It's important to make sure you still spend some time with your rabbit apart from bonding. Bonding free-roam rabbits. This method was used after attempting a more traditional bonding method, so there was already a little bit of history between the two rabbits. Already I was dealing with one rabbit who was mildly territorial and one who was very anxious, but neither were extremely aggressive. You may have to adjust the technique depending on your rabbit's personality and the way they interact with each other. For this technique, it's better to have 2 or 3 exercise pens available so that you can easily and quickly increase your rabbit space in neutral territory. Start small for short periods of time. This bonding technique starts in the same way as more traditional bonding. You'll want to start your rabbits in a small neutral space for a short amount of time. You can put your rabbits in a carrier together, use a laundry basket, or a box with just enough space for the two of them. During the first 2 to 3 sessions you will spend 10 to 15 minutes of stress bonding, followed by 10 to 15 minutes in the same small space, but without the stress. If you enjoyed this video, kindly press the like button. Also don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, so that you don't miss out on videos like this. Thank you for watching.